Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to our next CanPrep webinar. We're very happy to welcome all of you to join us today. And happy Halloween to everyone around the world. And of course, it's the favorite holiday of all the dentists out there because all the kids are gathering candy and eating all the sugar. So happy Halloween, everyone. And again, on behalf of JVS Toronto and our pre-arrival program, I would like to welcome everyone to our webinar. Our topic today is going to be benefits of professional associations and designations for newcomers to Canada, which is quite a fascinating topic that is not discussed on a daily basis. And we decided that it would be very much beneficial to learn about the differences between regulated professions, professional associations, professional designations, so that all of you in those occupations that can benefit from it, and we truly believe that anyone can benefit from it, can really learn about how to go about it and what these benefits really are. So if you note about the webinar housekeeping, our webinar is being recorded. The length of the webinar is approximately 1 hour, like every other webinar that we deliver. All your lines as participants are going to be muted throughout the webinar. The Q&A session, where you will have an opportunity to ask our panelists today questions, will be presented at the end of the webinar. You can type your questions in the questions window, which is on the right-hand side of your screen. Recording, you will see it in under Employment Specialist, and we will post it in the CanPrep blog really soon. And as always, we are kindly asking you to complete the post-webinar survey. We use this information to plan and analyze this feedback to take action for our next webinars to make them better and more relevant to you. An email will also be sent to all of you. So a few words about the program, CanPrep Canada Infonet, our JVS Toronto's pre-arrival services. It's a free specialized national program that is delivered by JVS Toronto, which is an organization geared at helping newcomers and people from all walks of life with employment and potential immigrants in your case as well. JVS Toronto is the lead agency on this project. We work in partnerships with many other organizations such as TRIAC, with CISO, Magnet, and OMIS all around Canada. We have partnerships with organizations across Canada who refer mentors to our program in a variety of sectors. And of course, we reach out to different employers and different organizations across Canada that can make our program more relevant to attend to your needs. So what is offered through the program to the immigrants arriving in the next 12 months? We offer extensive employment preparation and job search tools and support. We offer Canadian workplace culture and expectations for success at work, because we do realize that all of you are professionals who are already successfully employed and have careers in your field. We're helping you adjust what you know and adjust your professional experience to the expectations of the Canadian workplace and Canadian employers. The main component of our program is occupation-specific mentoring. So we connect our participants with seasoned and experienced Canadian professionals in their field and in their province of destination so that you can get first-hand information about your field. We conduct employer webinars and industry experts webinars like the one we did today. And we provide you with access to an online matching platform to access real-life job postings from the Canadian employers. Just to get us started this morning, we wanted to share a success story about one of our participants. So Parissa, who is one of our participants, generously agreed to share her success with all of you. She's a telecommunications engineer from Iran. She connected with CanPrep Pre-Arrival Employment Program before her arrival in Canada. An employment specialist from our program provided the one-on-one job search support, including work on resume preparation for interview and identifying a realistic career goal. She received information on resumes, cover letters, how to customize the resume, online networking, and more relevant information. She connected to a Canada Internet mentor through our program and through our platform. The mentor continued to support. The mentor provided industry-specific tips, helped with targeting specific companies that would be relevant to the experience that was on Chris's resume. She applied for jobs and received a job offer before arriving in Canada. So through all of these supports that she received, she was actually able to compete with applicants who were already here in Canada, and she was able to secure employment before arriving to Canada. Definitely a success story. From our statistics, 92.36% of clients report being empowered and well prepared for their first employment in Canada. So we're happy to share these successes with you, and we're welcoming your feedback as always. So without further ado, let's talk about what Canadian professional associations are. And there's a big discussion and confusion around what is the difference between a regulatory body, a professional association, and a professional designation. So in Canada, professional associations play an important role as an information sharing, best practices, and networking opportunities body. They all share a brand. If you join a professional association, you will be able to assume your responsibilities as a professional. So if you put on your resume that you're a member of a professional association, it immediately adds credibility to your resume, and professional associations in Canada are an extremely widespread idea, which might not be the case elsewhere in the world. And that's why we're presenting this idea to you today, because it's another, so to speak, tool in your toolbox as you're establishing your career in the new country. This is something that's extremely, in most cases, very affordable. In many cases, it's extremely helpful to get your foot in the door, to get to know professionals in the field, to understand the industry trends, and also add Canadian credibility to the package that you will be presenting to the Canadian employers. You will accelerate your learning when you become a member of a professional association as a career choice. Again, you will be showing professional employers and potential employers, you will be showing them that you're a career-focused professional, that you're thinking about ways of how to augment the knowledge that you have, how to increase your presence in the market. You will get an opportunity to access what is called the hidden job market. So it's not positions that are advertised on the web that everyone has access to. This is a great way to connect and network with other professionals who might know about opportunities that exist in their company, that exist in the industry, and who also share the same passion of this professional community that you're trying to get into. You can do your research because all professional associations are different, and we will hear more information about it today. Some have more extensive membership fees, others are very volunteer-based. So do your research, go online, you know your profession, you can consult with your employment counselor, and there's basically professional association for anything in Canada. You will be surprised how many professional associations there are in the different provinces for the different occupations, and some of them are extremely specific. So this is also good for those of you who are looking to get into some niche occupations. And if you follow the link that you see on the screen, you will see a good selection of professional associations just for you to start exploring and start doing your research. So some examples, CNA, Canadian Nurses Association, which is national, ATA, Alberta Teachers Association, which is specific for the province of Alberta, CWSO, Crisis Workers Society of Ontario, CIPHI, Canadian Institute of Public Health Inspectors, which is national, CMA, Canadian Marketing Association, which is also national. So as you see, some of these associations are province-specific, some of them are national, which encompasses all the provinces and territories in Canada. So very fascinating information for all of you as professionals, just to take a look and select those that would make the most sense for you as a professional. So we spoke a little bit about the professional associations. What is professional designations? Professional designations are often considered a proof of credibility, especially during the job application and hiring processes. In some cases, you will see that a professional designation is going to be a must in order for you to access employment at a certain level. In many other cases, it's what is called in the Canadian labor market a nice-to-have idea. So again, it gives more credibility. It means you have gone through some additional education, you have gone through some additional assessment, and it attests to the level at which you can perform as a professional. As I said, it is not mandatory in many cases, but gives you specialized knowledge and may give you an edge over competition while you're applying for jobs. And we will hear more about it, I'm sure, from CPA Ontario. It shows employers and clients that you are dedicated to your profession because you have taken the time and the effort to pursue the professional designation. And as you will see, in many situations, people will have this little acronym next to their name, which speaks to the professional designation that they have. Most programs require a combination of self-study, work experience, and some kind of exams, which is geared towards professionals who are working. So many of these programs that require additional education are offered full-time. And again, we will have an opportunity to hear from both of our panelists today more information on that. Professional designation is different from professional licensure. So let's not confuse between the two. In Canada, in every province, there are regulated occupations. So for example, many of the occupations in the medical field, you cannot practice unless you have a license. You cannot practice as a doctor unless you have a license. You cannot practice as a nurse unless you have a license. So professional designation is different from that. It is an additional credential that you can add to your name. It gives you additional responsibilities in the workplace. In some cases, it gives you the ability to sign projects when you have the professional designation and to take accountability for that, but it is not required. Licensure is something in some occupations, licensure is something that would not allow you to practice in your field unless you have a license. So this is the main distinction. And again, we will hear more as we move along. Today, under the licensure system, provincial regulatory bodies define the tasks and functions of practice of a professional and provide that these tasks may be legally performed only by those who are licensed. So just making these distinctions there. And we're not talking today about the licensing bodies. We were actually planning to deliver a separate session on licensure and regulated occupations, so stay tuned for that webinar as well. So I'm happy to present our panelists for today. Our first presenter is Carmen Jacques, who is a long-term friend of JVS Toronto. CPA and CGA, these are the professional associations that Carmen has. She's a student recruitment manager, chartered professional accountant of Ontario. Carmen, in addition to having the CPA designation, Carmen also holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Sydenham College, University of Mumbai. A skilled accountant with a wealth of experience in international industry, Carmen offers exceptional knowledge and expertise in helping new Canadians. And we have done multiple engagements and speaker engagements together with Carmen. She's very well familiar with the issues that immigrants and potential immigrants face. Carmen actually personifies the value of CPA Ontario as in an invaluable resource when communicating the career benefits and opportunities that are offered by the CPA designation. Welcome, Carmen. We're thrilled to have you with us.
Thank you, Irene, and hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. As Irene pointed out, my name is Carmen Jacques, and I am the Student Recruitment Manager with CPA Ontario. I am a CPA, CGA, and internationally educated professional, born, raised, and educated in Mumbai, India. I immigrated to Canada in 2003 and has lived the first-hand experience integrating into the Canadian labor market. So firstly, I'd like to thank JVS Toronto, CanPrep, for inviting me today to join today's webinar to speak to you very briefly about the benefits of professional associations and designations for newcomers to Canada. And in specific, I'll be talking to you about the CPA designation. So I'll be speaking to you about a series of related topics that I have been asked to hone upon to the main theme of today's webinar, that's professional designations. So the agenda really covers what are professional designations, advantages of having a professional designation, what do professional organizations do, typically the perks of membership, difference between certificate and certification, how to leverage job offerings for job search, importance of networking for career progression in Canada, and of course, finally, the path to the CPA designation. So they are connected, related, but also quite individual on its own. So let's get started. So let's kind of deep dive into what are professional designations. A professional designation or certification is earned by satisfying the education, examination, and experience requirements of a professional body. Professional designation gives employers an indication of the levels of competence of the members who qualify for them. So, for example, the CPA certification program is designed to serve the needs of Canadian business, government, public practice by ensuring that new CPAs have the strong foundation of knowledge and skills they need to succeed. So here, CPA Ontario is a qualifying and regulatory body for CPAs and CPA students in Ontario. So in Ontario, CPAs are educated and regulated by CPA Ontario. So employers and those engaging the services of Canadian CPAs can be assured that they are answerable to a professional body, that is CPA Ontario. So the advantages of a professional designation, and here it's such as CPA, would apply across the board to most professional designations, I would say. Credibility. So CPAs are recognized around the world for high professional standards and expertise. We refer to ourselves as protecting the public interest, as trusted financial experts, and ethical thought leaders known for having the integrity and courage to do the right thing. Recognition. A CPA designation is your passport to work anywhere around the world, and the designation will provide you with a toolkit of skills and knowledge that are in high demand by top organizations globally. So the designation also provides you the opportunity to pursue the income that you aspire to and provides you financial security. It is a credential that is in demand even in tough economic times, with an employment rate that remains consistently high. The CPA designation is a respected and recognized designation around the world. It provides you with the opportunity to work in any industry, any sector, any company, any leadership role. Organizations increasingly demand that candidates have a professional designation. So becoming a CPA gives you a competitive advantage you need for a prosperous and fulfilling career in Canada. So the CPA designation, and likewise, as I mentioned, any other professional designations can take you from the beginning of your career to the top position in any type of organization in any sector of the economy. So what are the perks of membership to be tied to a professional organization? For example, like CPA Ontario. So professional organizations like CPA Ontario deliver professional development resources to help enhance career and professional growth through areas such as conferences, courses, webinars. So what do professional development activities do? They contribute to the acquisition of new knowledge. They build familiarity with issues relevant to you, to your role. They maintain and improve your skills that the public expects from you as a chartered professional accountant. Networking and events hosted by professional organizations are such a great way for you to make new connections across industries and build your professional networks. As a member, you have access to these unique opportunity and career development events. As a member, you also enjoy access to a wide variety of exclusive products, services, preferred rates, and events for your business and family through many partners of professional associations. So, in specific, CPA Ontario's Volunteer and Job Board is CPA Ontario's official job board and your direct link to Ontario's leading employers seeking future CPAs. As a member of a professional organization, you have access to ongoing support for career and professional development, providing opportunities that best suit your career goals. So, for example, if you'd like to polish your resume or gather insights on interview tips, it would be the career services team at professional organizations that would be there to support you on your career journey. So now, let's briefly look at the difference between a certificate and certification. So close, it looks very close, but they're pretty different. Certificate is awarded after the successful completion of an educational or vocational training, usually by a particular institution, for example, an educational institution. Certification is a process of certifying professionals or giving credentials to a professional. So a certification results in credentials that can be used after a professional's name, for example, CPA. Now, you require ongoing standards to maintain a designation or certification. For example, as a CPA, you're committed to ongoing professional development and adhering to the Code of Professional Conduct. Now, how do we leverage offerings for job search, right? So most professional associations, I would say, would have many of these offerings, and I could relate to each one of these to a professional association, that's CPA Ontario. Career services, whether you would be interested to polish your resume, prepare for an interview, a career services team is always there to help you through that process. The skills of networking is one of the single most important business and personal development skills you will utilize in your career. And this is a quote by the New York Times. So networking is such a great way to make new connections across industries and build your professional network. As a member, you have access to these unique opportunities and career development events that help and support building your professional network. So local associations are a great way to network with your fellow members, learn what's new in your region. So CPA Ontario is the body, but we have local associations that host these kind of events, networking events, and other events in various areas across Ontario. All students in the CPA program are required to have a CPA mentor before they can begin their qualifying practical experience term. So what does a mentor do? A mentor helps a CPA Ontario student develop essential communication, decision-making, and problem-solving skills and sets a standard for teamwork, leadership, and ethical behavior. Now, if you're searching for your next opportunity, looking to energize your career, the sky is the limit for CPAs in Ontario. We have a very highly effective job board and volunteer board that employers looking to hire CPAs or students in our program post positions with us. So you also have here opportunities to volunteer. Volunteering is both a chance to do good work and an excellent opportunity to network with your fellow members. So let's briefly look into the importance of networking for career progression in Canada. Networking is an important career development skill that is worth developing. In its most simplest form, networking involves having a career conversation with someone for the purpose of exploring careers, gathering new perspectives and ideas, advice, and guidance. So it can take place in many forms. You could talk to professionals, say in an informational interview, through which you can gather information about a job, your career, field, industry, workplace, so you can determine it's fit for you. You are able to get that first-hand relevant information about the realities of working within a field, industry, or position. This could be a new concept for many individuals. I recall my first experience for going to an informational interview. So informational interviews is a form of networking. As I said, it helps you find out about career paths you did not know existed. So you also get those tips or insider knowledge, as I would say, to prepare for and land your first career position. In my best experience, networking is also about building authentic relationships with real people. Networking gives you access to a wealth of knowledge and experience. The people in your network will likely come from a variety of industries, backgrounds, meaning they'll offer you a broad range of perspectives and possess a deep well of wisdom for which you can draw. When you have a strong network, you have a support team, people you can turn for guidance, advice, or assistance. So together, it's not a one-way street, right? It's together you share best practices, you become as much as a resource for them as they are for you. So one of the advantages of networking is that it helps you become more visible because you become that one person that knows everyone and can be asked to make introductions or provide insights on clients and associations. So let's talk about how to become a CPA. Each of your paths will be unique depending on your work experience, education, and professional designations you've already attained. So no matter what your background is, we'll help you get in your path to your CPA. For those who are internationally trained accountants, there are a number of paths to membership in the Canadian CPA depending on your accounting body. The best way to determine next steps is to go to cpaontario.ca/ITA. There you'll find a list of global accounting bodies that what type of pathway you'll follow and what next steps you'll need to take. So cpaontario.ca/ITA. For those of you who are not internationally trained accountants, right? That is, you're not a member of an accounting body from overseas. We have a path for you that is clear, flexible, and tailored for you. The CPA certification program is designed to meet the needs of industry, government, and public practice by ensuring that new CPAs have the strong foundation of knowledge and skills they need to succeed. So let's take a look at an overview of how to get the CPA designation. We require 14 prerequisite courses, as you can see here, an undergrad degree. You're eligible then to enter a professional education program, which roughly takes around 2 years to complete. At the end of it, you write the common final exam, and in combination with the 30 months of practical experience, you will become a CPA. So in a nutshell, the CPA program, your path to becoming a CPA includes the academic study, the professional education program, and the practical experience requirements. So if you have those academic prerequisites for the CPA PP, all you have to do is submit your transcripts for an assessment with CPA at cpaontario.ca/transcripts. CPA Ontario will determine whether or not you have completed the 14 subject areas required for entry into the CPA Professional Education Program. If your studies do not meet the required subject area coverage that's required for entry to the CPA PP, you may choose to take these courses through a post-secondary institution or CPA Ontario's preparatory courses. So no matter what your previous education discipline was, you can pick up all the necessary courses you require through the preparatory courses. Now, once you have completed the recognized prerequisite courses, so that is those 14 courses, right, which you've seen in the previous screen, you are eligible to enter the CPA PEP. The PEP, or the Professional Education Program, is the core of the CPA certification program. And this is the program that trains you to be a professional accountant. The program is designed to be 2 years in length from beginning to end. The CPA PP begins with core modules, Core 1 and Core 2, that provide professional level knowledge of financial reporting and management accounting. The electives allow you to tailor your program to fit your career goals, your career aspirations. The program ends with Capstone 1 and Capstone 2 that are designed to build your leadership and communication skills and prepares you to write the Common Final Exam. The Common Final Exam, or CP, is the final summative evaluation for the CPA program that evaluates candidates against the CPA competency map. All these modules are delivered using a blended learning model combining online learning, self-study, classroom learning, and teamwork. Before obtaining the designation, all aspiring CPAs must have full-time work experience through which they develop their applied skills. The CPA certification program requires students to complete a minimum of 30 months of relevant practical experience. The profession will accept up to 1 year of experience earned before entering the profession. So that is your prior experience. So once you have made your decision to explore the CPA program further, you can begin the process while you are overseas. You can apply to find out how many transfer credits you qualify for in our program. That is, whether you have the 14 subject area courses required for entry into the CPA Professional Education Program. How do you go about doing that? Complete and email the online transcript assessment form. Here is the link, cpaontario.ca/transcripts. You can do this right from your desktop right away. You can email any additional documents such as your proof of legal name, that's your copy of your passport. Request for official transcripts from your post-secondary institution to be sent to CPA Ontario. So those are transcripts, mark sheets in a sealed envelope that's closed, not opened. I recommend requesting more than one copy since you're overseas. If your transcripts are not in English, we do require an English translation. Also request a copy of your course syllabus while you're overseas and keep that handy. CPA Ontario does accept a course-by-course credential evaluation carried out by VEST through their ICAP service. So if that's an option for you, you can send your VEST course-by-course assessment instead of your official transcripts. Once we have your complete document package, we'll send you a link to make a payment of your $150 transcript assessment fee. You will receive your transcript assessment results in 6 to 8 weeks. Your next step then is to register as a student in the CPA program and enroll in the preparatory course. So I pretty much come to the very end of my presentation. You have my contact information in front of you. Any questions post-webinar, please reach out to me. Our website is cpaontario.ca. All that I've spoken to you briefly about it is available on our website. Thank you very much, and I'm over to you, Irene.
Thank you very much, Carmen. And it's, as always, extremely informative and insightful. So the good news is there are definite benefits of becoming a CPA, and there are steps that some people can already take while they're still in their home country. So this is very useful information. I would advise all of our participants to, if you are considering this, to have a conversation with your employment specialist and to determine the next step. Thank you very much, Carmen. And without further ado, we're moving on to our second panelist, Hussam Shaz, who is the founder and president of Fordham Management Consulting, Inc. And you see all of these professional designations under his name. And Hussam is going to share some more information about all of this with us today and the benefits of all of these designations and joining professional associations. So Hussam is a seasoned consultant, trainer, and practitioner in the field of strategic management, implementation management, corporate transformations, and project and program management. He is the founder and president of Fordham Management Consulting, Inc. Prior to that, Mr. Shaz was a principal consultant in the Corporate and Operations Strategy Group with PricewaterhouseCoopers Consulting in Toronto. Throughout his career, Mr. Shaz has implemented projects and business transformations in a number of industries across engineering and business functional areas. He designed, developed, and facilitates courses in strategic management, project management, change management, leadership, creativity and innovation, and communication. He teaches at the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies and other academic institutions on a part-time basis. Mr. Shaz is involved in the Canadian Association of Management Consultants, CMC Canada, where he is the immediate past chair of the Greater Toronto Area Chapter Council and sits on a number of committees and associations. Welcome, and the floor is yours. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and greetings to all the attendees in wherever in the world you are. So essentially, I'd like to thank my colleague Carmen because she covered a lot of the areas that I would have had to cover. So I will only focus on some of the differences. I might skip over some of the slides because she would have already covered them. So essentially, my presentation is focused on my volunteer activities within the Canadian Association of Management Consultants, as I am a certified CMC, which is a certified management consultant. So the difference between certifications and certificates, that's already been addressed. One thing I'd like to add is that for some certifications or designations, they give the holder the right to title. So you can use the 3 or the 4-letter acronym after your name, but it doesn't really open new opportunities for you that would not, or that would have been impossible otherwise. Whereas there is the right to practice in other designations, whereby you need to be certified and you need to have that designation as part of the licensing that will enable you to practice within that profession. So let me clarify that in the management consulting field, the CMC, which is the only global designation or certification, confers to the on the holder the right to title only. So you can practice management consulting without being a certified management consultant. But why would you go through the certification process? If that's the case, that's something that we need to address in the next few slides. So let me again focus on a difference between professional associations and labor unions, because some people get confused. Well, you belong to a labor union or a professional association, that's the same. That's not quite so. So labor unions essentially protect their members, they support their members, and they work for the benefit of their members, full stop. Professional associations do that. They support their members and they help them and they guide them, but their main objective is to protect the public. So professional associations are there to protect the users of the services, the professional services rendered by those members of their association, making sure that services are delivered according to required and agreed upon professional standards. And if there is a dispute, then the association would, in most cases, stand by the public and impose disciplinary action on its members. So I think that this is something that's worth focusing on. So the professional associations, they create standards of practice. They also focus on the ethical guidelines, and this is something that all professional associations share. And sometimes when you read the Code of Professional Conduct, you'd think that they were written by the same individual or the same organization because they would have the same intent and in most cases the same wording. They also offer professional development, which is something that the certified professionals need to do once they are certified. So whether you are a CPA, PMP, which is a project management professional, a CMC, you are expected and you are required to document and log on record the number of hours that you spent in professional development for you to maintain your certification. You can also get timely information on your industry, and very importantly, all professional associations offer networking. Networking is the most important thing that you need to do once you're in Canada.
Thank you so much for saying that.
And I repeat that. And I repeat that. This is the single most important thing that you need to do once you're in Canada. And let me just digress a little bit and share with you my own experience. I landed in Canada in November of 1996. So I've been here about 22 years. And when I first came, I started to go through the officially known and recognized way of just going through looking for ads and vacancies and responding with my resume and cover letters, all that. And I had no responses. And I thought, what the hell is going on? Why am I not getting anywhere?
You probably invested a lot of time and thought in that resume and cover letter that you were sending out.
Absolutely. And then I happened to know of a program that the government was running, and I attended it. It was a one-day program. And the first thing they said that was 80% of the jobs out there are not announced. They're hidden. And the only way for you to access those is through your professional network. And I said, wow, that's what I need to do. And that's what I started to do. And let me share with you this. I've been working in Canada for 22 years. I was first employed by what used to be Coopers & Lybrand Consulting, which became PricewaterhouseCoopers, which became IBM Business Consulting Services, which again returned back to being PricewaterhouseCoopers Consulting. That's a long story, but it was one employer, and I got that job through networking. And then after I left them, I established my own business, Worthy Management Consulting Inc. And since then, all the professional consulting as well as the teaching engagements I've had were all through networking. So, not to belabor the point, networking is your best friend. Make sure that you network professionally within the right circles to, number one, get to know people, number two, for people to get to know you, number three, to get to know all the opportunities and plan your next move. So back to the presentation. Other benefits would include discounts and perks and things like that. Now, management consulting as a profession is an independent advice service that you provide to organizations to help them solve problems, to help them achieve their target objectives by identifying opportunities and enhancing the learning and the activities of those organizations that you would consult with. There are a number of skills that you need to have in order for you to practice that, and you will be imparting those skills and sharing them with your clients. And there is a consulting process that you need to go through. Management consultants can come from all walks of life. They can be project managers, they can be accounting and financial services, they can be for human resources or others. There are specific things that are expected to be there in a management consultant, and those are listed on the screen. I'm not going to go through the details of what's on the screen because I believe that those will be shared with you so you can review them later at your own time. This is one of the slides where I will not go through each and every one of them, but it gives you a flavor of what is expected, what are the competencies that are expected in a management consultant. Management consulting as a profession, that's already been covered. The ethical standards and the reputation is core to all professional associations. So this is something that whether you are a PMP, a CMC, a CPA, or any of the other designations, you must abide with and you must sign on an annual basis with your renewal of membership. So that's a given. For a typical management consultant, you can be working with one of the larger firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, or others. You can also be working in small or medium-sized enterprises. You can be working in your own field. Typically, if you're new, it is recommended that you start with a large firm and then move into smaller firms where you can get a more senior job. Now, there is global recognition to the CMC designation, and I would strongly suggest that if you want to pursue that area, you look for what might be an IMC, which is an Institute of Management Consulting in your country, and the CMC is present in about 45 countries worldwide. So if you connect with your local IMC, then that will help you a lot when you come here to Canada. Very similar to the CPA program, there are requirements to gain your CMC designation. There are three entry streams into the designation. There's the entry level, there's the experience level, and there's the executive level. So depending on the prior experience and the positions that you have, you can decide and you can also ask which is the preferred entry point for you into the stream. Clearly, when you're more experienced, there will be less requirements for you to go through. So how you will benefit is, on the screen, you will have a lot of professional know-how that you can have access to because you will have access to the knowledge base, you'll have access to the professionals, and you can hear their stories and you can consult actually with them free of charge. You have access to the community of professional management consultants. You can stand to save from a number of affinity programs, which might be insurance, which might be clubs or other perks. You will share with a common body of knowledge, and you will be more aware, and you will be part of the awareness and advocacy programs. Your clients will definitely benefit from you because they will be receiving professional services that have been accredited and have been designed by professionals to help the clients and protect them. Some of those are frequently asked questions, and I'm not going to go through them because I would want to give you the chance to go through the FAQs. In Canada, certainly the management consulting is governed by provinces, but there is a federal agency or a federal entity that coordinates across the different provinces. So this is where we have our headquarters. So if you have any questions, the information is on the screen. This will connect you to the headquarters or head office to CMC Canada, and they can answer questions. They can direct your interest to whatever institute which is at a provincial level that might be assistance to you. So with that, I'll come to the end of my piece, and I think we will open the floor to Q&A.
Thank you very much. Very useful information, again, very insightful. And I like the fact that the personal experience comes into play here. So my first question to both of you is going to be, So we heard the story on how you chose the professional association that you decided to join. Do you have any advice for our participants who are coming from a variety of occupations, how to go about selecting which professional association to join, what criteria to use for that decision? So I will just open it up. Carmen?
So in my best opinion, Irene, I would say, number one, look at your current professional background. Is there some kind of connection that could help you bridge to a professional accounting body or association while you land in Canada? Other could be just simply interest. Is there any kind of professional body that supports your current interest and aspirations? So that would be the kind of guiding, I would say, a guiding line to kind of take that next step.
Thank you.
I would take a slightly different approach in that rather than looking historically, look into the future. So what are your interests? What's your plan? And this was what I did because I did not practice management consulting before I came to Canada, but this was my intended and targeted profession. So this is what I did. I knew that I had the required expertise to do that, but then I focused on what I would want to do. And that would not only limit your choices to one or two associations. I happen to be a member of the PMI Toronto chapter. I happen to be a member of CMC Canada. I'm also a chartered engineer in the UK, so I have a number of professional designations, and you can be an HR professional and others as well. So look into what you plan to do and then start to pick and choose your associations.
Thank you very much. And another question following that. So you spoke about the benefits and the values of what professional associations do and how they stand on guard of the public to ensure that professional standards are met. Do they also address the needs of their members in the way that they help regulate the minimum wage that will be offered to professionals in these associations or members?
Now, as far as I know, within the CMC or the PMI, they are professional associations. They're not labor unions, so they do not tend to get into regulating the minimum wage or the minimum standards. They provide services to help. So if you're a client and you want to know how much should I pay for professional services for a management consultant, they might be able to help you. If you're a management consultant and you're looking for advice on things to do, on processes and procedures, on things, then the information will be there for you. Now, specifically for those who run their own businesses, if you work in the KPMG or you work in Deloitte or one of those large organizations, they have enough information and they have enough knowledge bases for you to be able to refer to and guide your activities. But if you're on your own, your best reference and your best resource would be the professional association because they have their own knowledge base. You can also have access to practicing professionals who can guide you and support you and mentor you.
That's wonderful. Carmen, is there any benefit, in terms of monetary compensation from having the CPA designation? This is one of the questions from our participants. So when you're CPA certified, does it mean that as a professional, you will be entitled to a higher compensation?
Okay, I would say that we spoke about the benefits of having a CPA designation. It does bring you that instant credibility, visibility in the marketplace. It just tells an employer, a potential employer, that you've gone through this robust training, right, and satisfy the education examination component of a professional body. It also tells an employer that you've just not I have now my designation, but I'm not just complacent with what it is. I am looking forward to moving onward and upward. So that is even as a student in our program, that's why you would see that it opens those doors to opportunity. Besides, I would say that just getting the CPA designation is not an easy path. I mean, the pathway is easy, but it's just not an easy task to get one. It takes a lot of effort in terms of working full-time, studying part-time, right, managing your family. But at the same time, those are the same skill sets that make you being successful at your workplace. So so to answer your question, does it translate into the earning potential? It provides you the knowledge and the skills to function in the workplace at the capacity that you have. So you have CPAs at various positions, right, from managers to CEOs to CFOs. It also provides you the opportunity to work in any sector organization in any kind of roles. So in terms of the earning potential, I say you steer your career to the aspect that you'd like to take it towards, right? And sky's the limit, right?
And it serves as some kind of a proof that you are someone who is striving for more. You're someone who has the capacity to do more, who is willing to take on more responsibility. And I also like the point that, for many newcomers, even the idea that you are in progress, that you're pursuing a designation is already adding some credibility to a resume right from the start, even before you have it. So you don't actually have to postpone your next career move while you're working towards your professional designation or when you're joining a professional association. It's already serving to your advantage on your resume, and you can already start taking steps towards that dream career or that plan that you have in front of you. So this is very much in line with what our employment specialists are discussing with our participants. Have a short-term plan, have a long-term action plan. What is it ideally that you want to achieve in the years to come?
You nailed it so perfectly. There are no shortcuts to this, right? And that short-term and medium and long-term is an essential kind of indication. And I think being focused as you go through what that end goal is will help you get to where you want to go. I think that's key. If you settle for something less and kind of say, okay, that's a quick fix, this is Canada, it doesn't work. And most of us from overseas do recognize the benefit of being that professional, just coming from there. So it's no different here, I say. And so I think just be vigilant and do your research, like in terms of employers, what are they looking for, right? Go to job sites, say Workopolis, Monster.com. Just look at what's being looking for. Like, be vigilant. It's all there in front of you, and then make those well-informed career choices.
One thing I wanted to clarify in that there is a distinction between membership of an association and certification. So in the CMC, you have to be a member. And then once you're a member, you can work on your certification. I think it's the same for the CPA. For the PMI, it's quite different. So the PMI is centrally governed and regulated out of Philadelphia in the US. And membership in any chapter is optional. You can be a member, and if you're a member, this is where you enjoy the perks and the benefits and the discounts. But it's not a requirement. You can be a PMP, certified PMP, without being a member of any chapter. So whichever association you want to go into, you need to find out whether they separate the membership from the certification or they combine them together, because there would be some options for you to choose from.
Thank you. And on that topic, another question. So some of our participants are asking, since this is something that might be a requirement to pursue a professional certification, and all of our participants have been approved for immigration but haven't arrived in Canada yet, is it possible to join a professional association prior to arrival? Or you have to be physically in Ontario or in Canada for that matter?
As far as my designation and certifications are concerned, if you join any of your local chapters or associations, then your designation is transferable. So if you happen to be somewhere in the world outside Canada and there is a chapter for the PMI and you pursue things through them, or there is an Institute of Measurement Consulting and you pursue your designation through them, then those certifications are completely and fully transferable. And when you come to Canada, you just have to go into the association and they will tell you, okay, you're there. I think it's a little bit more involved for the CPA, but I'll leave that for Carmen to explore.
But basically, you can check whether this professional association exists in your country prior to arrival. So that's a very good advice. Thank you very much.
Right. So the CPA, if you're a member in good standing and you have of another accounting body, we have various pathways, as I had kind of discussed in our presentation. And you can say if you've attained your membership into the CPA through a mutual recognition agreement pathway, you can attain membership into CPA Ontario while you are overseas. So that is even while you've got your papers ready, you can submit your documents, and then you're on your way to becoming a CPA. But in terms of others getting into the program, they can jumpstart it while they are overseas, but you don't get into membership. Like getting into the membership, you don't get into. You're admitted into membership is when you satisfy the education, the examination, and the experience requirement, right? So that's the time you're admitted to membership, and then you are a full-bodied member of CPA Ontario. When you're committed to lifelong professional development, meeting the ethical code of conduct, as we said, what really keeps you then have a responsibility to the public trust, right? And that's the main aspect, the ethical code of conduct, the integrity component that you are as a CPA. And these are the same qualities when you say, leading to that other question, why do employers really want you to have that? These are the underlying factors. Other than the knowledge, the skills that you acquire at the program, it's a given that you're regulated by a professional body. You are responsible to the public at large, right? And you've got to follow to that ethical code of conduct. That gives, imagine the assurance employers get, right? When they have this kind of comfort level.
Absolutely. So the employers can rely on those professional designations and professional associations
Correct.
to determine the standards and to protect the public. So whenever the employer hires someone who is a member of this association or who demonstrates having the certification or the designation, the employer can rest assured that there is another body standing behind that individual who will be adhering to the professional standards. So this is also important for our participants to understand. It's not only attesting to your experience as a professional, it's attesting to the standards of performance that you will be accountable for as a member of that association or as the holder of that certification. So we're getting many questions that are a little bit more specific about specific experience in the financial sector, for example, or in project management, and whether it will entitle the person to be exempt from certain exams. So I would urge our participants to either pose these questions to their employment specialist, so then we can forward them to our today's panelists, or we have your contact information, so if that's okay, our webinar participants today can contact you directly. If there are any other questions, we encourage everyone to submit your questions online. We will make sure to direct your questions to our today's presenters. Thank you again very much to both of you for participating and sharing this very valuable information. There's still a lot for us to learn. For us who are working in the employment sector, there's definitely a lot to learn, and there's a lot changing also in the associations and the designations. The most important message, however, that we want our participants to take away from today, this is a great tool. Joining professional associations is a great tool for you to meet professionals in your field. So go ahead, do your research, look around for these professional associations, and you can always come back to us and ask any questions. If you have networking, we cannot overestimate networking. It's probably the most important skill that you will need to learn. We will help you with what to put on your resume. Networking and knowing people in your field is entirely up to you. We're giving you the tools. So thank you very much, everyone, and hopefully you found the information today useful.
Thank you.